What's up, guys? What's going on, man? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's daily devotional with Trust in Jesus Ministries. Glad you're listening to the podcast as we are going over Genesis 49:13 through 15. We have been listening or reading through the blessings of Abraham to his 12 children, and this is what's to come for the 12 tribes. And now we're on Zebulun and Issachar. So if you haven't checked it out, go ahead and read those scriptures. Come back and we'll answer the 4 questions. Stop the tape, check it out, and see what it has to say. But if you've already read through the scriptures, man, let's go ahead and check out what Jacob says to his sons, Zebulun and Issachar. The first question that we ask always is, what's going on? And I talked a little bit about that. I said that Jacob is giving his oracles to the 12 sons. And these oracles extend out to who they become, their families, their tribes, as they flourish and grow in the land of Goshen. And so he says of Zebulun, he says, you're going to live by the sea. It says, and you'll be a haven for ships. And so this is a little bit odd, though, this one here. And it's because they're actually not close to the sea. But what happens, I believe, is that they believe that they get the idea of the sea comes from the Phoenicians and the Philistines, and they dwell close to those people. And so that is kind of maybe what Jacob is saying, is more of the fact that they will be by those sea dwellers, those people that live in that area. And then the next brother, Zebulun or Issachar, I said Zebulun, right? But for the one that's by the sea, but Issachar, it says will be a wild donkey, or not a wild donkey, but a strong donkey crouched between saddlebags. It says, and they saw land was good for resting, and that it was a pleasant land. And it says that they bowed their shoulder and became indentured servants or slaves. Some want to, because the word that's here, lamas ovid, is usually intended for slavery, but in some aspects, some believe that it might be actually a term for just a hard worker, and that by the sweat of their brow, that they'll be serving the rest of the tribe. That they work hard workers, and carry out. It's like that guy that puts his carries his lunchbox and puts his hat on to go to work, hard hat on every day to go to work. They're blue collar. They work hard. But it could be a little bit of a harsh thing for them, because it says that they see good land and then they have to suffer because of it. The place that they stay is, I believe, is actually outside of the promised land, and because they want to stay there, they end up suffering and being enslaved, getting taken over. So that goes to say a few things as we go into what to say about man and what to say about God. And so, what does this scripture, these oracles, say about God? Well, I think it says that He'll allow you to do what you want to do, but there's consequences, and it's a fact. In the fact that that's why God has created us in such a way that He's called us to Himself. But if we don't answer the call, if we decide to walk our own path, if we want to live our own lives of sin and self, then it's what you can do. God allows for those things to take place. What to say about man? I think it says that we can do as we wish in certain circumstances, but it will always bear a consequence. Now, consequence is not either good or bad, but it is just the effect of our actions. Now, if our actions are bad, then the effect is bad. As we see, it seems as they have made their decision to settle outside the land because they thought it was better. And that wasn't really what the Lord had for them. But in the narrative, it says that the Lord allowed for it to happen. He says that they could take it as long as they would fight when they needed to fight for the other Israelites as they take over the land that was promised to them. So it's it's in that saying that there's consequences for our actions, and it talks about the pleasures, and so that kind of gives an allusion to the idea of maybe Eve. She saw that the fruit was good for eating, and she partook, And so, in the same aspect, we need to be looking uh, um, at our own hearts to see what's the reason we're doing the things that we're doing. I think in Hebrews, it talks about how Moses would not take the pleasure of sin for a season, but endured suffering with the people of God. And that was a demonstration of his faith. So how do we apply these truths to our lives? Well, I think it's following God. Basically, it's knowing and understanding that the consequences of doing what God has called us to do always brings glory to his name and good for us. Now, the good for us is simple and easy, is that we get to see God's glory. We get to be more like him. We get to become image bearers of his nature, so that others can see us and glorify God, as it says in Peter. But also the glory of God is being shown and demonstrated. And so he is exalted higher and higher. And those things happen when we choose to follow God. So where is it in your life today that you're not, actively seeking to follow the Lord and what he has called us to do, either simply or specifically? Just look in your life and see, man. I've found mine is that it is, we've been going over a lot of things, and provision is one of the things. I actually wrote a blog on that one. If you want to check it out on trustingjesusministries.com, but about provision, and God has shown another way for me to humbly and openly confess my need for him and recognize how he provides. So what's yours? I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.